So, I recently ran a pitch with oyster catchers. In terms of what oyster catchers did to help, well, firstly, I should probably say at the outset, I was a skeptic. Did we really need somebody else inside the business to do it? Can anybody help really who doesn't know about our business? Because we believe nobody knows our business as well as we do. I think the reason that we got ourselves there in the end is one, through some personal connections with oyster catchers. I certainly felt it came at a time for us where we were incredibly busy. We had a lot of other things on, and a pitch that would ran previously, a year earlier, had really absorbed a tremendous amount of the team's time for a good 3 months. We couldn't afford that this time around. We also wanted to look for a slightly different type of agency, and that's why we employed the help of oyster catchers. So the agency briefing was interesting. I always think that the whole agency pitch process is a bit bizarre. It's speed dating, and speed dating for perhaps one of the most important partners that you might engage with in business. So we've always felt PowerPoint, 2 hours in a room, getting to know people through that route is never going to work. So we decided to do something different. It felt a little bit like the X Factor when we were going through the whole process. So admittedly, we were drunk down the pub, thinking about how we could do the pitch differently. And we decided that it's the X Factor. Let's do judges' houses. So bizarrely, but true, we took oyster catchers and 4 of the shortlisted agencies on a plane out to Tenerife. We did the pitch with cliffs in the background and raging seas coming in. I pulled my trousers up very high and we delivered the pitch. It wasn't just to take them to Tenerife and endure a 4-hour flight on a scheduled airline for that period of time. It was also, we happened to have 25 of our customers out there on a holiday that they'd won through the site. And so it fulfilled 2 ambitions for us, really, which were key for any agency selection. The first was know the customer, really try and get to understand the customer. And believe me, they got to understand the customer during the course of that evening. But the second was to get to know us. Incredibly important. We're going to be working with all of the people in the chosen agency going forward tremendously closely over time. And you just can't get that through 3 scheduled meetings in somewhat sterile environments. So we felt we needed to get out there with them. We always take the view that you don't know anyone until you play bingo with them. The most surprising thing that oyster catchers did for us in the pitch, I'd say that was probably the never-ending commitment to remind us of our own contradictions. In terms of things that we weren't expecting, that we actually got from oyster catchers that came into the pitch, the main thing probably was just that element of impartiality. I had a team of people involved in the pitch on my side, probably about 6 strong, through from head of the brand, through to the guys that manage our marketing and acquisition side. We are very close up to this all day long, day in, day out. And so that was a real benefit for us, was just to have someone step outside, actually replay some of the things and some of the dynamics that we did inside of the pitch process that maybe don't make it as healthy a process as it could be. Made sure we got those right. But then also gave us a real impartial take on the strengths and weaknesses of agencies as we went through. And probably lastly, I'd say, a little bit of technical competence, I guess, in terms of what can we ask of agencies? What's the right thing to ask of agencies? How can we actually push for more and look for more in the relationship out the other side? And I think making sure we're asking the right questions at pitch has been critical to us in ensuring that we've got the right partner going forward. How do we make good agency relationships work over a long period of time? There's a number of answers for that. I think empathy. I think they desperately need to empathise about the situation that we're in, the work circumstance. They need to understand our culture. I think probably first and foremost. I think we also need to understand theirs, and we need to understand the environment they're working in, what we're asking of them, ensuring that we are clear, and not the fact that people say, "Do you speak with one voice, or do you speak?" We don't, and we never probably will. But making sure that we're available, that we're in constant communication, and that we can iterate, because that's the way that I think we'll build successful partnerships. Was there anything that oyster catchers were really useless at? That's a brave question. Yes, there was. Angus was the guy who guided us, I guess. Some might use a different word. But Angus guided us through the process. What was he useless at? He was useless at dancing, definitely. And actually quite useless at drinking. If you could get the drinking right, the dancing might come. I guess if there was something that would keep me awake at night, it would be really about, are we communicating enough? I'm a true believer that inside and outside of organisations, about 70% of issues kind of channel back to comms. And if we can communicate, keep communicating, keep those lines open, then I think you get through it. The other one that keeps me awake at night is this unbelievable chocolate tequila drink that someone's just introduced me to. I didn't realise that if you have 4 of them, you actually do stay awake all night.